Hello and welcome to the Life in Journal podcast. My name is Nick.
No.
What?
No.
No what?
Just no.
Is that going to be your answer for everything, Ian?
No.
No. You know what? That is Ian's. Ian's like the negative Nancy.
I am not.
Yeah. Ian's answer to everything is no.
No.
Like, Ian, you want to go do something? No.
No.
You want to go to the record store? No. You want to go catch COVID in a field with 200 coworkers? No.
The only one of those that I was actually like, yeah, I kind of shouldn't do that is the record store one. The other ones I'm like, no. I don't want to. No.
We had so there was a couple weeks back, we had one of our coworkers that we work with was having a party for some of the people that were, I don't want to say terminated, but I think they were like permanent laid off.
Permanently laid off would be accurate, I think.
So they were having like a party. They did like a GoFundMe for them, and there was they put a party together for them to just kind of say thanks. And like, I was planning on going, and Mandy was going to go with me, and I was trying to get old Chucklehead here.
That's me
to go with us also. And then our employer had sent out an email like the day before. So the party was on a Saturday. We recorded the day before, which was Friday, and I think the day before that, so Thursday, our employer sent out an email basically saying, don't be stupid and have parties with a bunch of people and
right.
Don't go to parties with other people, basically,
that
you don't live with. Don't be in close contact and blah, blah. And so was that what kind of...
I was debating. I didn't want to go anyway. I've not been in a very social mood as of late, and that was just a lot of social activity for me.
Which I've got some good friends that lost their jobs, and so I was kind of looking forward to seeing people, some people, and I guess that kind of colored my thought process over because after you said you weren't going. So actually, before that,
because I didn't really tell you I wasn't going till like that day.
Till that day, but I had kind of made up my mind that morning.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday we were recording. The whole plan was to go to this party the next day, and I woke up the next morning and I started thinking about, man, if we all get COVID from this damn party, even though we're going to be out in a field and we're going to be outside, and more than likely
everyone was wearing masks.
Well, from the pictures, no one was wearing masks from what I saw. So
I was assuming people would be wearing masks.
No.
I would have been wearing a mask if I would have
gone. I had planned on wearing a mask if I went. But, the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, this is just bad. This is just not. This sounds like something that we shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And the originator, the creator of the party, even kind of said something along those lines Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was when we saw the post after we were done recording.
Right.
Talking about, hey, maybe we shouldn't have this party. It's too late to kind of cancel everything. But if people want to show up in small groups, we'll have
everyone's welcome.
Everyone's welcome. Well, it didn't. From what I understand, it didn't turn out that way. There was just like a big group of people that were there, and so far nothing's happened.
I haven't heard anyone.
No one's.
I mean, we work with the vast majority of those people who went.
Yeah,
and on a relatively daily basis.
But and from what no one has gotten sick or anything like that. So that's definitely a good thing.
At the time of this recording, it's been 2 weeks.
It has been, yes. So they would have had
somebody should have come down with something if there was a problem.
So that's good. So, but I had kind of made my decision Saturday morning that I wasn't going.
Right.
And Mandy and I woke up in the morning and I was talking. The more I talked to Mandy about it, the more I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to go. Mm-hmm. And I kind of, unknowing to you, threw it in your lap. And I told Mandy, I was like, if Ian wants to go, I'll go. But I'm not staying for more than like an hour, and then I'm coming home.
Right.
I said, if Ian doesn't want to go, I'm not going.
Right.
So
I'd pretty much made up my mind when the invitation went out, but I was just, you kept saying, you got to go, you're going to go, you're going to go, and I'm like,
So knowing that you were going to say no,
right.
I kind of threw it in your lap. But anyway, so like Mandy and I woke up that day and we were like, screw it. We're just going to go. We went out to Great Lakes Crossing, which is a mall like an hour or probably 40 minutes north of Detroit. So we were like an hour and a half from home. And like, I didn't even get home till probably almost 6 o'clock that day. So, I mean, I had zero intentions pretty much going to this party. So it was, I don't even remember where the hell I was going with that story.
Well, it started with you calling me a negative Nancy, which I just think is terribly inappropriate. And my feelings are a little hurt.
Go to hell.
Oh, no, now you're getting personal.
You are negative Nancy, Ian.
I am not.
Yes, you are fucking Eeyore.
No, I'm not.
Oh, sorry. You're not like literally fucking Eeyore, because that's bestiality is frowned upon
Isn't
on
he
Life
kind
and
of
Joe
like-
podcast.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really bestiality because he's a stuffed animal.
Right. This doesn't make it any better.
No,
to be fair.
No, because there was a guy several years back that got arrested for having sex with a stuffed animal in Walmart. I do remember that.
Nick, you promised you wouldn't tell anybody about this. Now everybody knows.
Hold on. Is it really considered having sex with a stuffed animal, or are you just masturbating with a stuffed animal? Or is that like splitting hairs?
I think it's splitting hairs.
Okay.
Because and really you could split it three ways, because one, is it masturbating? Two, is it having sex with a stuffed animal? Or three, is it violating a stuffed animal? Because a stuffed animal can't give consent.
Ooh, touche.
So, consent was never given.
Consent was never given.
Yep. That poor thing. That poor animal.
I think it was an Elmo puppet, too.
Oh, God, that's terrible. That's fucking terrible.
No, it's fucking a stuffed animal.
Yeah. Right.
If you tear a bowl, it's something completely different.
Something tells me the bull's not going to let you do it.
God.
You can't rape a bull.
So we do have a topic for today.
Yeah. It's about raping bulls.
It's not.
Boy, this podcast has gone downhill, man. It used to be so classy. Now it's masturbation jokes and bullfucking and man,
donkey shows, and it's.
Well, no, that was a highlight, but. Oh shit! Yes, we have a topic. What's our
Hey,
topic?
real quick, did you know that Kevin Smith has a new podcast?
He does like a new podcast every month.
So he's doing a vegan.
Yeah, I've known about that one. I can't watch that one. I'll watch all his other stuff.
You don't watch it.
Well, I'll listen to it. I can't. No, he's actually been doing.
It's actually pretty interesting. It's with him and his daughter.
Yeah, because they're both vegans now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get on board with veganism. I am
vegan abattoir.
I guess
That's what it's called.
I am aware that I have to adjust my diet, and it's going to require me to eat a lot more vegetables. From the zero that I eat now, I definitely need to increase that. However, I don't get veganism. I don't understand it.
It's not that I don't understand it. I could never be vegan, just because I first off I couldn't cut out cheese out of my diet,
right?
And I can't cut seafood out of my diet,
right?
So
you could be a pescatarian.
So yeah, I actually was pescatarian for a couple of years, and if you don't know what pescatarian is, it's a vegetarian that makes an exception for fish.
Right. And I could almost pull that off, honestly.
Yeah, and it was actually I loved it. I mean, there's a ton of like
Which
great.
is expensive. That's the problem.
It's not because I
to get fish, cook fish. It's more expensive than buying chicken.
Because it's still you're not like it's. I think people have the wrong idea of pescatarian. It's an exception for fish. It's not like a fishitarian where you're just eating fish all the time.
Oh.
It's like occasionally if I want something other than vegetables.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Or dairy products, I would have like some salmon or something like that. Or I love I could live off sushi. I mean, I love
I would
sushi.
have to have some kind of a protein every day, an animal-based protein.
Yeah. Every day. So, but there's a lot of like really great meat substitutes out there. I know they're getting better. I still can't wrap my brain around them. Yeah, some of it's kind of weird, and there's a lot of you can be a vegetarian and be an extremely unhealthy vegetarian,
right?
Because there's a lot of prepackaged,
well, that's my
frozen
fear
kind of
with
vegetarian things.
veganism. When you start doing meat supplements or meat substitutes, you're still dealing with heavily processed foods,
and that's
because
why,
it has to be processed in
yeah,
order to
and
be
that's
that
why if
way.
you talk to a lot of vegans and vegetarians, they really use those like meat substitutes sparingly,
Right.
and that's fine. And it's like if you want to, but there's I don't remember the brand because Mandy used to buy it when I was pescatarian. There was a chicken patty. It obviously wasn't chicken, but it was a meat substitute chicken patty. That, dude, these things were better than regular chicken patties. I mean, they were fucking awesome.
But again, they're still
Still processed.
a processed chicken patty
and,
is processed
yes,
too,
obviously. And the soy chicken patty probably wasn't really any better for me than but it's just. I guess it really depends on why you're a vegetarian or a vegan. I know that Harley Quinn Smith, she's a vegan because she is opposed to the harm of animals.
right.
And I think Kevin Smith is more of a vegan because
of his health.
Because of his health.
Right.
And it's really kind of interesting. I've only listened to a couple episodes of their podcast. Like I said, if you're interested in it, it's called The Vegan Abattoir. It's on, every kind of, Apple Podcast and Spotify and everything else out there. But it's interesting listening to their conversations because, like, a couple of the episodes I listened to, Kevin Smith obviously was not a vegan for a large portion of his life, and he wasn't for a large portion of Harley's life either.
Right.
So she talks about her relationship with her dad when he was,
Fat.
a meat eater.
He was fat. He was fat.
And
I, you know what? I'm fat too, so I can say that.
But she kind of talks about their kind of relationship and how she felt about some of the things that they did as a family and things like that. And it's just really interesting listening to their kind of how their relationship grew through veganism and some other things. And Harley does some interviews with other people that they bring into the show, and it's. Kevin, I think he just gets high, actually.
He does. It's all he's been doing for years, is just getting high on the podcast.
But it's funny. He basically gives his daughter shit like the entire episode, and it's fucking hilarious.
I think it's on his Harley's boyfriend. Or I think they're just boyfriend girlfriend.
Yeah. And they've only been dating since the beginning of the year.
Okay, he lives with them.
Yes. So
he's been doing videos himself, and Kevin and Jay have been in a couple of them.
Yes.
And the first one I saw cracked me up. Because they were like kind of talking about him, and then he like pops in. It's like a Zoom thing, and he's like, because I don't know if they were talking about. He's always asking questions about Harley and stuff. I don't know, but or just whatever. So the boyfriend kicks in. He's like, I got a question, totally unrelated to your daughter. Where do you keep the condoms? And Jay, because they were talking about, Jay was like, yeah, you got to give him benefit of the doubt. And after that, Jay's like, let's kill the motherfucker.
So those are actually for a TV show.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So they're on like a reality TV show. God, they were talking about it on the last episode too. But basically what the concept is they got all these like B-list celebrities, which Kevin calls himself a B-list celebrity.
Right.
He kind of puts himself in that category. So people out there, if you're a big Kevin Smith fan, don't get all offended.
No, because we are big Kevin Smith fans.
I am a huge fan of his work. But so they get these like B-list celebrities together, and they're like, okay, we want you guys to make these home movies. Mm-hmm. And people vote each week and vote celebrities off this game show. So Kevin was like, okay, we got all these people living in this house because we're all living together because of
COVID,
COVID and the pandemic and everything. So why not do like a sitcom? And I guess Harley's boyfriend is a great guy, Kevin.
Well, he's funny.
Kevin thinks the world of him, but in the sitcom, he plays like the opposite of himself.
Right.
He's like this idiot jackass and does all these like stupid things. Right. And they keep doing these videos every week for this game show, and they're not getting voted off. And they're like, so that they're getting like crazier and wilder. And I think it's that
was one of the first ones, because that was like a while ago.
Yeah.
When I saw that one, it just cracked me up.
Yeah. So,
but I always see it's always tagged with the boyfriend's like channel or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever I've seen it. So
But he seems like a great guy, and
I don't know. He said it was funny. It cracked me up. Because we have the benefit of having grown up basically with Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
We're a little younger than him, but we're in that same generation. So, where he was making movies about 20-something slackers, that was us. And now as a parent, you're a parent, and you're a parent of a soon-to-be teenage daughter, or she is a teenage daughter now.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of relate in some ways, and I can at least relate to being old and fat.
And actually, Jack is only a couple years. Harley just turned 21.
Yeah,
because I think in one of their,
I heard that I saw the clip or heard the clip about them talking about when she can buy her own weed now.
Yeah. That was the second to last episode.
Okay, yeah.
So that was
She's
pretty
like, now
funny.
I don't have to have my dad go buy my weed anymore.
So yeah, if you follow Kevin Smith on social media, he did like a cartoon, which was actually kind of funny because I thought it was really funny that in the cartoon when he did the part of him like taking Harley to the weed store when she was a little kid, he drew himself as like 1997, Kevin Smith.
Fat, more hair probably.
Yes, yeah, he did. So it was actually kind of funny. I like the little detail in the video, but yeah, if you're a Kevin Smith fan, definitely check out Vegan
and
Avatar.
if you're not, why?
It's not what's that?
If you're not a Kevin Smith fan, why?
Oh, there's a lot of people out there that are.
I guess.
And I would say that the show isn't generally necessarily. Obviously, it's about veganism. Kind of the basis of the show is Kevin and Harley answer questions about veganism from social media. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot more to the show than veganism. As
with anything Kevin Smith does, because he likes to go off on tangents.
Yes, and he does in the podcast also.
Yeah.
So I would definitely
when he first started his Smodcast, this was back
early 2000s,
mid 2000s. I listened every week. Then it got where the Smodcast became he was basically just broadcasting the audio from all of his Jay and Silent Bob Get Old shows.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot of difference between the shows. I mean, obviously they'd change it up, but I was like, well, I've already listened to that 3 times.
Yeah, so you're not going to listen to it again. So
plus it wasn't so much that the whole show was the same. It was Jay's part of it because it was all part of Jay's sobriety.
Yeah.
Moving towards being sober. So, I just kind of lost track of it, but he's got like 10 or 15 fucking YouTube channels.
Yeah,
he works with IGN. He does YouTube stuff. He does a lot
of different things.
He's got the Fat Man on Batman, and which he does with one of the writers. I think he wrote for Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I mean he's been on the Schmodown, which I like. I haven't watched in a while, but the Schmo's Nose channel, they do the Schmodown where it's basically like geek trivia. Mm-hmm. He's been on that and
a bunch of different stuff. Kevin Smith is a busy person.
And to be fair, I really, really, really enjoyed Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I didn't think I would, but I really did.
I thought it was really good, and
I'm looking forward to Twilight of the Mallrats.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I will say that the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, I did not have high expectations.
Maybe
that's
what it is. But I liked it a lot.
Even though I liked like Clerks 2, I thought it was really good.
Oh, I think Clerks 2 was one of his best films.
I liked Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, even though a lot of people didn't.
Yeah, that was my least favorite of the bunch.
So like I said, I didn't have high expectations because it's been kind of so long since you've been in touch with these kind of characters.
Right.
That you kind of lose track of or lose a sense of the storyline.
Right.
And I thought it flowed really well. It had a lot of stuff that picked up a lot of the more popular things from
the past movies
that it picked up and tied into. And, I think he really kind of touched on everything. He touched on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. He touched on Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy. It all tied into it. I think
he did a better job with the Chasing Amy segment, actually.
Yeah.
Than he did with Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Because it was just that last scene.
Well, and her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that last scene of her when they come out of the movie in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, that's the only time you see.
But the tie there's a big tie-in into the whole
in the reboot, yeah.
In the reboot,
right? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the Chasing Amy part of it that he included in reboot was a better connection to that film than Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was, because that's what that was. That was supposed to tie up the whole universe at that point. So,
no, I definitely liked it. I thought that was really good. But Kevin Smith does a lot of great stuff. I mean, obviously he's had some swings and misses.
Right.
But I think
I thought Red State was okay. I just, I don't know if the problem with Red State that I have with it is I think the concept was a little lofty for his budget and maybe his ability.
Okay.
He still pulled it off quite well. I got what the message he was trying to send, but like I said, I just think it was a little. It wasn't, the scope wasn't there that was necessary for that particular story. I have not seen Tusk or Yoga Hoser yet.
Yeah,
I do want to see Yoga Hosers because it seems a little bit more funny than scary, even though he bills it as a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen Tusk yet, so I don't know. I don't know what to think of that one.
I haven't seen him either, but
I've seen all of his View Askew movies, and I'm one of those rare people who actually like Jersey Girl.
I actually haven't seen Jersey Girl.
It's cute. It's a fun little family movie.
Yeah.
And George Carlin's brilliant, and it's the last movie he was in. I think.
I will say that I know people other than you that have seen Jersey Girl and liked it. So
Okay.
I mean, I don't have a negative view.
It's not
of
his
the
worst movie. I mean, in parts of it, and outside the dialogue, you wouldn't even know it was a Kevin Smith film.
Yeah.
But the dialogue is where it counts.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I've always loved about
Yeah,
Kevin Smith's
it's
film.
where he's excelled.
Yes,
is
so
the dialogue, absolutely. But
And George, like I said, George Carlin really shines in that film.
Yeah.
So
That's not what we came here to talk about today.
no, I'd rather talk about this, but I digress.
So it's and it's the first episode of the month. So typically we do our vinyl record episodes, but as we've been saying for the last couple months with COVID and the pandemic and everything being closed, it's really kind of pushed off vinyl releases.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a whole lot of stuff coming out. Really nothing of note for several months
There's
now.
only two things I can point out that one is out now, and I still haven't gone and gotten it.
What's
It's
that?
a new Kansas album that came out
Okay.
last week. And then August 3rd, I think, there's a 7-inch single, Alice Cooper single coming out. Don't Give
Okay.
Up.
Okay.
So, it's limited edition too, so I don't know what the likelihood of me getting it is.
Yeah.
But, because I think they're pressing like 2,000 copies or something like that.
Well, if they're pressing 2,000 of them, that's actually a pretty decent
Is it?
number. Yeah,
Okay.
so you might be able to grab it. And even if you can't get it in like Dearborn Music or one of those stores, you can probably get it off of Discogs.
Probably, yeah. I just don't want to pay a fortune for it either because it's just
Generally, his stuff really isn't the 7-inch. Generally, aren't very expensive. I know that 10-inch that he released last year.
Breadcrumbs, yeah.
Breadcrumbs you can still get for $20. I mean, it's like so it's not nothing.
which is
too
really
bad.
good 10-inch. It's like 4 or 5 songs on it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is I want to get it, but it's okay if I don't because this song I think is going to be on the new album that comes out whenever. It was supposed to come out this year, but that got backed up.
Yeah.
So he's still working on it.
Yeah.
But it's called
Which-
Detroit Stories. He's finally released the title of the album.
Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's first time I love that he's like still has that tied to Detroit.
Yeah. Well, that's this whole album he says is a tribute to the Detroit sound.
That's
Not
cool.
just the hard rock sound that he came out of, but the Motown and everything else too. So
that's cool. I'm excited to hear. I'm excited to at least hear it.
yeah, I am too.
And I'm really hoping that this whole pandemic thing. I hope we get some truly incredible music that comes out in the next year or so, because these guys they've got to be doing something sitting around.
Right. Yeah, because you think about this, especially some of these older rockers who've never really stopped.
Yeah.
Alice, Ozzy to a degree, Ian Anderson, Kansas, all these bands, they're on the road 6 months or more out of every year, and have been for pretty much the duration of their careers. And now they are not.
Yeah.
They're just stuck at home, and I'm sure in order to stay fresh as musicians or songwriters, they're going to want to do stuff. They're going to want to be creative. And having all this free time to be creative, I have a feeling next year or the next 2 years, we might be getting some really good
I really hope
good
so.
music.
I haven't listened to it yet, either one of these albums. I know you won't give a rat's ass about either one of them. But I'll definitely check out. One I might check out, but I know that both Logic and Taylor Swift have both, like, within the last couple of weeks,
Announce new albums.
drop new albums, like, out of nowhere. And I think the pandemic
Is
probably...
that Taylor Swift, is that Folklore?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen some rumblings of it
Yeah.
online.
And then...
It's considered her first alternative album.
I haven't listened to it yet.
That's what they're saying.
And then Logic just released an album on the same day, actually, and had like, I think it was just like the week before, through social media was like, hey, just so you know, I've got a new album coming out next week, and I'm retiring. That's my last album.
Oh wow!
So and I think a lot of, at least those two albums, I think this delayed period where nothing is going on, I think sped up both of those. I know Logic has decided to retire and spend more time with his family, because he just had a kid and things like that. So just got married. So I wonder.
I'd say it's probably more of a sabbatical. He'll be back.
I don't know.
Nobody retires.
Nobody
in that industry ever retires unless they physically have to.
I don't know. We'll see, I guess, at this point.
Every single one of them. Everyone who's ever said I'm retiring at a young age that didn't have health problems, every one of them
come back.
So it may be 10 years from now, but he'll be back.
We'll see.
And it'll be huge when he does come
back.
But
I think that probably the pandemic had a lot to do with both of those albums, and maybe Logic's view on his personal life. That, hey, he's been spending time at home. He hasn't been not a whole lot going on. He kind of sees what he's missed.
Right, maybe.
And maybe it's like, you know what? I got money. I've got royalties. Right. There's no reason for me to. I can do whatever I want now.
Right.
So I don't know, because I know he's starting up his own. He's in the process of starting up his own record label. So there's other stuff he's got going on music wise. So I don't know.
So he's not retiring. He's just shifting his energies.
He's not creating albums anymore.
Well, he's just shifting his energies, starting a new gig.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Childish Gambino did the same thing. He said when he released This Is America, he was done. That was kind of like the end of that project. And then he just released a new album late last year. So
as Childish Gambino, because I was
Childish Gambino.
Because I was under the impression that was going to be the last Childish Gambino, and anything that came after be under his name.
Donald Glover.
Yeah.
No, it was released under Childish Gambino. Okay. So
yeah, I mean, again, it's how many artists? I think it
was
Ozzy said he was retiring in 1992.
Yeah,
and
I know
he just released an album. And he's starting to work on another one.
And his last album was actually really freaking good.
Really good.
It was
really good.
I was really surprised at the quality of it.
Yeah.
But
I wasn't, because I like all of his albums, but it was definitely above and beyond some of his last few.
Yeah.
Other than the Last Sabbath, because that was really good too.
I don't know. There's not a whole lot coming out, and I did glance over the list for the month of August earlier today, and it's like, there's maybe one thing. I don't remember what it was, but there's
yeah,
nothing really of note to kind of talk about. There's no big reissues they're getting done or anything like that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we got Record Store Day coming up in a couple of weeks, a month. So, and that's kind of what I was kind of looking for this episode, was looking at Record Store Day. And part of me kind of looks at it. I mean, obviously, I'm excited for Record Store Day. I'm excited to kind of go out and get some of those titles I want to get. But is Record Store Day kind of turned into just a cash grab?
Mm-hmm. Yes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it accomplished the goal of what it was intended to be. It was intended to build up small independent record stores,
and it does that,
and to push physical media as a viable presentation of music for artists. And it's accomplished that. Is it outgrown that? I don't think so. But at this point, it's not really necessary anymore. I don't think so. By that standard, yes, it is a bit of a marketing ploy, cash grab kind of a thing. But it hasn't, like I said, it hasn't outgrown itself yet.
Yeah.
To the point where it's just.
We'll see. We'll see this year if it's outgrown itself.
Maybe
with
four
record stores in 4 months.
Yeah, 4 record store days in 4 months.
We'll see how it plays out. I mean, I think August is going to be a huge date.
Yeah, it is for me. That's when the at least the primary album I want, the Record Store Day album, comes out. Yeah. So. And
September is a little less, and October for me is really not a whole lot of anything. There's one album
and we still don't have the list for Black Friday yet.
No, we won't have that until
November.
Yeah. It'll come out beginning of November, after the October Record Store Day.
Right. And when we go over that, that'll probably be on our Vinyl Den YouTube channel.
Yes. Yeah, very good good segue and plug there.
You know what? Hey, I'm here. I might as well help out once in a while.
Every once in a while.
I can't remember the fucking email address or any of that shit, but I know we've got the Vinyl Den on YouTube. Check it out.
Contact at lngpodcast.us.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But so if you are a fan of vinyl records, check out the Vinyl Den on YouTube. We release multiple shows a week, and we've actually got a really good response going on. I've been happy with it so far. It's been fun.
You won't have to listen to any of the bullshit that we talk about around records, which is kind of
it's very specific.
Yes, yeah.
There's no like segues.
It's very meat and potatoes.
Absolutely, we get right to the point.
Yep.
And
for now,
I don't know why. Whenever when someone says meat and potatoes, I always think of penises. I don't know why.
That says way more about you than anyone who says meat and potatoes. All right, I'm just saying. There's nothing to do with anything, because there's nothing meat and potatoes. Has nothing to do with penises. So that's all.
Really? I mean, it's like, I know it doesn't, but it's like visually, it's like meat and potatoes. But obviously, I know that's not what they're trying to reference. But it's one of those things that always pops in my head. Maybe it's not a good thing. Pops in my head.
There's a show I mentioned it on the last episode I watch on YouTube. It's called 8 Out of 10 Cats Does Countdown. Yeah. It's a quiz show, but it's celebrities, so it's kind of a quiz show, but there's no money or anything involved. And basically, what it is it's a word and numbers game. And then for the numbers game, they have a mathematician on the show, who, kind of like the Vanna White, but she's a mathematician. And then for the words, they have a lexicographer, and to verify whether or not these words are right or spelled right or whatever. And I mean, she's a full-blown lexicographer, so she writes books on it and everything else. Well, one of the books that she'd written, or she was doing, I don't know if it was a podcast, it might have been something, but was basically all the different words for testicles throughout history.
Oh, okay.
And she came up with one, and I thought it was the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard, and now I can't fucking remember it. I led it all up to that without a payoff. Much like my sex life. Sorry, girls. Yeah, so I totally forgot what it was, but it was kind of like Twig and Giggleberries, but it wasn't that. It was like a one word. Yeah. Like wiggle giggles or something like that. It was funny as hell.
I think Twig and Giggleberries, I think that's from American Pie, I think.
It might be.
I think that's where I stole that from.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
I don't know how. Well, I don't know why we got segued off on the penises, but
I don't know
so
either.
Back to Record Store Day. I'm not sure. I'm definitely gonna. I've already got the day off for the August date, so I'm definitely gonna be there for that.
I'm working on it.
I just the rest of the dates I'm not really sure. It's just I understand that Record Store Day is a big deal for
stores,
and that's what it was created for. It was created as a celebration of small independent record stores,
and to promote them, and to get people in who might not otherwise be there.
But I think some of the stuff, I feel like some of the stuff, while it's popular and I understand its appeal, some of it seems kind of gimmicky.
It might be,
and I think that speaks more to the releases and the record labels than Record Store Day itself.
Right.
Because you take an album, and it's an album that I want to get. It's the Soft Parade Stripped.
Yeah. When does that one come out?
That's in October. No, that's in September. Is when that gets
That's
released.
the only one that I would want from that.
Yeah, that comes out in September. It's something I'd like to have and listen to, but like I said, it's kind of gimmicky. It's just, it's one of those things that I understand. Limited releases. I understand, reissuing something in a small quantity, but it seems like a lot of the stuff for Record Store Day seems like either like those kind of gimmicky albums or soundtracks or live albums.
Right.
And there's really no value to a lot of that stuff.
No. I mean, live albums are fine once in a while and with certain artists.
Yeah.
But, for example, Alice Cooper, who is one of my favorite artists, is releasing a live album. Alice Cooper isn't a live album kind of an artist.
Yeah.
If you want a live performance, you need to see it, because it's a visual show.
I will say that the $1 Billion Babies live that I got, it's
That
really
one might
good.
be an exception because that was also the original Alice Cooper band. It was a bit more musical than the theatrics were toned back. But when Alice Cooper went solo in 75, the theatrics take over. And this live one that's coming out with this Record Store Day is from 81. So we're also not only just dealing with...
Oh, it was 82.
Or it might be 82.
Yeah, it's 82.
82. So we're not just dealing with a show that is going to translate better visually.
Yeah.
But we're also dealing with an Alice Cooper who's not at the top of his game.
No,
because
not
he
at
was all coked
not,
out.
Not even close.
Because he was all coked out at this point. So it just doesn't make any sense to do that. And that goes to, I think that goes more to the record label. Because there's no reason they couldn't have just reissued one of the last 2 records that they need to reissue of his.
Yeah.
So that they don't cost a fortune, and do it on colored vinyl because they weren't originally released on colored vinyl with the original artwork too. They could have just done that. That would have been much more appropriate for that artist for that day
than to just crank out. And that's kind of the thing that I think is going to end up being kind of the downfall of Record Store Day is a lot of these labels are like, okay, we know these idiots are going to just show up to buy whatever.
Right.
Here, let's throw something out.
Right.
A live
because we're sitting on this crappy live concert from 1982. Let's make some money off of it.
Yeah, we'll make some money off of that. Yeah. And I think eventually, Record Store Day is inching closer and closer to those kind of releases. Right. And it's the same thing. Like you're starting to see fewer and fewer of the rarer albums being reissued on Record Store Day.
And that's what it should be, I think. Yeah. It's all rare stuff.
Yeah. And you're starting to see more and more of those Record Store Day, you can't see me, but I'm going to use air quotes, the first releases, which are, yes, it's being released on Record Store Day, but it's going to be released again in the future.
In a mass market day.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're seeing more and more. The last couple of years, definitely this year, there's a lot more than there were last year, it seemed like.
Because like I said, the Record Store Day idea has accomplished what it needed to accomplish. Yeah. It's created a market for physical media again, and which was dying. It was, in some cases, at least as far as like CDs and stuff, it's still dying, but it's created a market of its own within the industry, and it's there. I think they've gotten as many people as they're going to get for now, and I don't know if keep continuing to do Record Store Day is going to build those numbers up unless they start doing something a bit more special that is less gimmicky, like what you're saying.
And I've seen posts the last couple of years, at least definitely for this year, of people talking about, look, I've gone out the last couple of years for Record Store Day when I didn't necessarily see anything, and they've said this year they're not going out for any of them.
Right. Well, this year there's the added question of safety.
Yeah.
Because we don't. I mean, August is we're a month away, and we're still pretty much full force in the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's October, November, maybe not, or September, October, maybe it'll be better then. But who's to say?
Yeah, I mean, hell, it could be even worse.
It could be worse.
But I mean, it's just I know people that are like, look, I'm done with it. I'm done with the gimmick of it. And if you're not going to put out anything of substance,
right,
I'm not going to show up.
To me, I see it should be specifically for either unique things or reissues of things that were either haven't been on vinyl for decades or things that have never been on vinyl.
Which there are some of those this year.
Some, but not a lot.
The Space Hog album, that's never been released on vinyl. That's something that deserves a record Store Day release.
Yep, I agree.
Or
a colored vinyl reissue is fine because it's do it in a limited edition. That's fine.
Or they've been doing like picture disc reissues, things like that.
But things that might appeal to a collector.
Yes, but it also seems like this year there's just a ton of soundtracks.
Yeah,
and I get it, man. I love movie soundtracks. I love musicals and things like that. But do we really need 40 different soundtracks released on Record Store Day just because it is the big one last year was the Crow soundtrack. You go online now, you can't get the Crow soundtrack off Discogs for less than $200. Right. It's an okay soundtrack. It's not the best. Yeah. I don't understand the appeal of it. I could have grabbed a copy when I was there. I think it's just the collectability of of the soundtrack connected to the cult following of the movie,
Right.
that's made it valuable.
Well, and to be fair, I don't much care for those soundtracks where it's songs by artists that I like, and they're good songs, but they're on the artist's albums.
Yeah.
So if I like the artist, I already have the song. I like soundtracks that are like with songs by good artists, but are geared specifically for those movies, like Queen with Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
All those songs were written for Flash Gordon.
I
That kind of thing I like.
I don't follow kind of the same path. I mean, I like probably one of my favorite soundtracks is the soundtrack for Top Gun. I love the soundtrack for that movie. Back to the Future.
But that was Kenny Loggins. Well, mostly Kenny Loggins.
Yeah, but the soundtrack for Back to the Future is an incredible.
But see, a lot of those songs were kind of written at least around that time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were from but they were popular songs.
Not Power of Love, but like Back in Time was specifically for Back to the Future.
Yeah.
You know.
But
those are exceptions.
Yeah, but there's some really good soundtracks out there. I don't know. It's like, was it Black Friday Record Store Day last year when they released the was it Saturday Morning Cartoons soundtrack?
Oh,
where it's a bunch of like punk bands doing. Which I bought it.
Right.
I haven't listened to it, but I bought it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I mean. It's kind of like the gimmicky part of it. That's like, I get sucked into it. I'll go to a record store day, and I always buy more than I intend to buy because I'm there, and you're the moment of it, and it's like, oh shit, I'd love to have that, but you never end up listening to it. But
right, well, I've always gone with kind of a specific view, and I'm not as prone to buying things randomly as you are necessarily.
What's that supposed to mean, Ian?
Well, let's just say I can be an impulsive buyer, but I'll never impulsively buy something that I know I may not listen to, or even have a question of that.
I never buy something thinking, I'm never going to listen to this.
Yeah,
never.
But I mean,
I've never bought anything.
I have very few albums that I've bought that I haven't listened to yet. I have some.
I will say I've got
but I
several.
have very, very few, and I could probably breeze through them in a day or two.
Yeah.
If I really sat down and said, okay, I've not listened to this one. I'm not listening to this one.
But I also collect a little bit more than you do, because I've got, where you generally don't like to have like multiple copies of an album.
And I'm getting better about that because certain albums I will have double copies of.
I've got like 6 copies of Dark Side of the Moon. I have not listened to all of them.
I will never
I've got
have that.
5 copies of The Wall. I haven't necessarily listened to all of them.
Right.
I've got multiple copies of every Blink-182 album.
Right. I'll never have that. Yeah.
I've got a black copy of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I've got a red copy of it. I've got a white copy of it. I haven't necessarily listened to all 3 of those copies. I've listened to the album.
Right. Yeah, I might do 2 copies of an album, but I will not do more than that.
Yeah.
It's just unnecessary for me. But that's okay. It's everyone's different in their collecting. But as I was going to say was.
That's why
when I've gone
to
record store
I do
day,
a little more collecting.
Right. I have specific ideas of what I'm going to buy. Yeah. We go over the list as a result of doing the show. I know what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
And there's always maybe a little room for an extra one here and there. Like last year, I was kind of on the fence about getting that Greta Van Fleet album that was exclusive.
Which you can probably still go out and buy right now.
Dearborn Music sells copies of it. Yeah. So, but when we walked in, they had stacks of them. They were basically at the door, like, please take this, because they had so many of them.
Yeah.
And like I said, I went in there not really intending to get it, but I got it, and it's one that I'm glad I did because it's a great album. But there's a little room for a margin of error for that for me. That's it. I don't anything beyond that though. I don't grab. I'm not. When I go in there, I'm going in there for a specific thing.
Yeah.
When I go to any other time, maybe not so much. I might not go in for a specific thing, but I walk out with an album or 2. Yeah. Last time I went, I bought 1 album. Mm-hmm. That was it, and that took me an hour to find to get to that point. Honestly, because it was the first time I'd been in there for ages. Mm-hmm. So. Or the second time I've been there for ages. Anyway, But I go in with a specific idea of what I'm going to get, and I don't get random stuff. Yeah. So all that random gimmicky stuff doesn't really apply to me.
I think there was 5 albums last year on Record Store Day that I did not intend to buy.
Yeah.
When I went in there, but I picked them up.
Yeah.
One of them wasn't even anything that was like released for Record Store Day. It was just something I came across when I went to Culture Clash Records in Toledo, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'd like to have this." I was Octung Baby.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't something that
That's
was released for Record Store Day. It was something I
Right.
stumbled across. So I was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna buy it."
Yeah. And that's fine, and there's no reason I wouldn't necessarily do that if I'm there and say, "Oh, you know what? I haven't bought that album yet. I might pick it up, even though it's not on the Record Store Day setup." But still, the gimmicky stuff doesn't appeal to me. I know what I'm going for, and if there's nothing appealing in the list, I'm not going.
I just want them to be kind of careful about what they put out there, so they don't kind of like water it down and eventually ruin what is a really enjoyable day of the year.
Well, and ultimately, it's not the stores; it's the labels.
It's labels, yeah absolutely.
And
because the stores don't have a
the labels are their own worst enemy. They always have been.
They always have been,
and that's that's the problem.
Yeah.
So
that's all I had on it. I mean, I didn't have anything super long to talk about. It's just
just throw that out there, throw that idea out there.
I will say that
any record executives out there listening, reissues.
Yeah,
reissue the stuff that's not out there.
Look for something.
Go on Discogs and look at what people are making on your fucking work, your music.
Yeah.
That's because it's so rare.
Because look at this one. Look, take Turn the Radio Off, for example.
Uh-huh.
Turn the Radio Off, like a 2012 reissue, goes for $150 online.
Right.
So you know what the band did? The band was like, well, shit, if we reissue this and charge $50 for it, we can make a killing. And it's sold out.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Go on Discogs. Atlantic Records, who released Tori Amos's From the Choir Girl Hotel, the vinyl record is $300 because it was limited release in 1998.
So even if you made pressed,
1,000 copies
and charged $50 or $60 for them, you'd burn through it.
I 45 to 50 because it'd have to be a double album.
Yeah.
Because it's a long album. It's
that's what I'm saying.
70 minutes.
If they put it on their website for $60, you're trying to tell me you wouldn't buy it because it was $60?
Oh, I'd buy it because I'm a completist.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that would.
Casual buyer might not.
That's what I'm saying.
$60.
They press 1,000 of them.
Right.
They'd sell them.
Yeah, and you're allowing basically a black market of your stuff.
Yeah.
To grow, which is fine. Eventually, that's even the reissues are going to be worth that kind of money. Yeah. But give people a chance and make some money off of it now for yourselves because you're not making anything off that $300.
No, and I think we're kind of working kind of like a vinyl bubble almost, the way it's kind of going.
I don't see it bursting, not in a devastating way. It might it'll plateau and level out, but I don't think it'll die.
Well, I'm sure they said the same thing in 1985.
Yeah, but there was an alternative. Now vinyl is the alternative.
I know that, but I don't think you can say it's not gonna it's not going to burst. It's not going to die. I mean, it definitely can die.
I guess it could, but I think if most of the people who've now spent the last 5 to 10 years building a collection like this, I can't see that going away because it's not, like I said, there's nothing to replace it.
Yeah.
Physical media there's never going to be any other type of physical media that comes out for music.
Yeah.
Whatever's available is what we
have.
have. And because vinyl is so stable right now, like I said, it might ebb and flow, but it's never going to go away.
Yeah. I mean, it never really went away completely anyway.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
the market
there were some wilderness years for vinyl.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess I'd just leave it at this and say that even though I do have some issues with Record Store Day and some of the stuff that labels are doing, definitely go out there and support your brick and mortar stores, because without them, if we don't support the physical stores, I mean, that's a huge part of the musical experience that we're going to lose.
Absolutely. Yeah, because Amazon can sell you records all day long, but
they don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about the music you listen to.
No.
They don't give a shit about the artists. They don't give a shit about any of the albums. Yeah. They don't give a shit about your incredibly rare 1954 Blue Note album.
Right.
the guy that's running the music store will.
Right.
The guy at the music store would love to have him there, stay in there and have a 15-minute conversation with you about the rarest, most obscure artists that no one's ever heard of.
Right. And he'd be happy to sell you a copy of it if he has it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And tell you all about it as he's doing it. So.
And a lot of the stores you go into, at least the good ones, you can walk in there and be like, hey, recommend something to me.
Right.
And they're going to, kind of go over, well, what do you like this? Do you like that? Hey, we'll try this out, try that out. Yep. You're not going to get that from Amazon. You're not going to get that from Discogs. You're not going to get that from eBay or anywhere else online.
Right. Well, it's at Discogs you can have conversations with people, but nothing like that.
Nothing close.
Discogs is really just for collectors. It's for people looking for stuff that you, even though it might show up in a record store, it's very unlikely that it will.
Yeah.
So that's where you go for some of the extremely rare stuff. Yeah. But, we've seen some crazy ass shit at Dearborn Music.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So,
but then again, there's also stuff that Dearborn Music doesn't put for sale in their store, which I don't like that.
Right.
That's one thing that I don't like.
But they still have to maximize their profit margins. It makes sense.
So what's the difference between so they have a 40th anniversary copy of Dark Side of the Moon.
Uh-huh.
Why not have it on the wall for sale?
Right.
Why is it only for sale on their Discog site for $100?
I don't know. No, you need to talk to them about that.
Whatever. I mean, it's.
I think it's just them diversifying a bit,
Because but it's not just Dearborn Music that does that. A lot of places do that. They don't. There's like super rare stuff that they won't put for sale in the store, even though they've got it in store.
The comic book stores are the same way, and they struggle to keep themselves afloat too in this age of digital comic books. I mean, hell, DC is on the verge of going out of business.
Yeah.
So they do the same thing with like old collectible type books. You used to be able to go in there when I was a kid, and you could flip through their back issues, and they'll be priced appropriately, but you might come across a rare, $2,000 record or comic book. Obviously, it wouldn't be in the bins, but you'd see it on the wall. Now they don't even bother putting it on the wall. It's eBay. Yeah. It's the same thing. Then the same with collectibles that they get traded in. It's the same thing.
But here's the thing, though. What's it hurt by putting it on the wall?
Because it might sit on the wall for months or years.
No. You can put it on the wall and list it online.
Oh, right.
It's not an either or kind of issue.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
And I don't know if it's
if it sells in the store, it sells in the store, and if it doesn't, it sells on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't, and that's what I'm trying. That's what I was saying.
I see.
And I don't know if it's an issue of, well, we're afraid if it sells in the store, and then it sells online before we pull it down online, there could be like negative feedback or something like that along those lines.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Have like a red shelf on the wall, and have all your employees know that if anything sells off that red shelf, make sure you take it off the offline immediately as soon as you sell it.
Yeah.
I don't know why what's so hard about that. I know that Dearborn Music had a butcher cover. I don't know if it was second state or third state. I know it wasn't a first state. Mm-hmm. It was probably a second state butcher cover that they stumbled across and they sold. And I don't think it was ever for sale in their store. I think they sold it strictly on their Discog site, which that'd be great to walk. And that's what I can say. I know that we've only been to Flipside once. It's up in Clawson. They had rarer stuff up on the wall. I remember standing there looking at some of it.
Right.
So, and that's the kind of thing I want to see when I go walk into the record store. I want to see that shit that you're not going to see anywhere else.
Right.
That really rare stuff. That's the kind of stuff I want to check out.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I don't know.
What do we know?
Nothing. That's why we're doing a podcast.
Touche, sir. Touche.
But anything else you want to add there, Ian?
Nope.
That's kind of all I had. Any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@ligpodcast.us. Check us out on Twitter @ligpod. We're on Facebook, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and just about everywhere else. Ian,
Indeed.
that's all I got, man.
All I got.
Talk to you later.
Peace.
Peace.
Playing my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, old lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you two cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, the niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bruh. We taking the dub, hoping you get you some. This here like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar sign. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck. Get well soon.
Oh shit. Watch out, you the god, Billy. Oh shit. Right now, and I'm smiling in your face, bitch. With a gold smile, you should probably make placement. To your eye, niggas sick as fuck. Standing with niggas who down for that party. Who down for some bitches who showing their bodies.